and then the regular meeting to order. And I'd like to, if Legislator Litz could lead us in the pledge of the flag. Please all stand. I think he's got to unmute himself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just did the whole myself. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
stands
one
nation under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
I'd be seated.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute.
We're gonna do roll call now. Archer. Here. Bartels. Bruno.
Here.
Cahill.
Here.
Corcoran.
Here.
Criswell.
Here.
DeLon.
Here.
Donaldson.
Here.
Fabiano.
Here.
Gaveris.
Present.
Green.
Here.
Haynes.
Here.
Hepner.
Here.
Litz.
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
Mayo.
Here.
Parity. Give that a minute because we just let him in, so he is here. See if I can
I
find
see
out.
him.
Parity, can you hear us? There he is. Petite.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Ronk.
Present.
Ushatel.
Present.
Walter.
Here.
And Waro.
Here.
23 present and none absent. Tonight, we start with a public hearing on Ulster County's application for New York State CDBG Economic Development Small Business Funds to assist Farm to Table Community, Inc. And we do have one speaker signed up, and that is Jim Highland.
Go ahead, Jim.
Jim Highland, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Is that Jim Highland?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Well, I sent out, just talking a little bit about our project. We've been in business in Ulster County for over 10 years. We've injected over $19 million into the local economy through our employee payroll. We're really looking forward to the next chapter, which includes upcycling the Sears store and hopefully bringing a lot of new life back to the Hudson Valley Mall. In the expansion, the jobs we will be creating are production line workers, line leaders, sales associates, QA assistants, warehouse workers, cleaning crew, operations. These are all jobs that are open to low and moderate income families. They're entry-level jobs, but at the Farm Bridge, we really do promote from within, and we do a lot of internal training. Currently, 4 members of our management team started with us at entry level, and all our current line leaders actually started in entry level, just production line workers. So it's an important thing for us that we train from inside and promote from within. With this expansion, it'll help us to continue to grow our important agricultural cluster that we are part of here in Ulster County, and to expand the businesses with all the Ulster County. We work with Davenport Farms, Miglorelli Farms, Hepworth Farms, a lot of Ulster County businesses, Adams Ferry Farms, Viking Community Compost Company, Fala Technologies, Red Barn Produce, Saugerties Electric, Field Goods, God Harvest, Trusted Harvest. For the new expansion, we raised over $4.5 million, almost $5 million. $2 million will go towards renovating the Sears store, $1 million towards equipment. The rest towards working capital, moving expenses, and contingency. And really, this is applied to is really the last piece of the puzzle that we've been trying to get. The rest of the fund is pretty much secured. We've got stuff from Empire State Development, Central Hudson, investors that really care about what we do as a company and that we're staying in Kingston. Important things for us. So we're hoping that we get this CDBG grant approved and we can move and continue to stay in Ulster County.
Thank you, Jim.
There are no other speakers signed up for this public hearing.
Is there anyone out there that wishes to speak that didn't sign up? Anyone out there that wishes to speak?
Sorry.
That didn't sign up? All right, having none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing. Legislator Litz, you're on mute.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, sir.
I'll second it.
And seconded by Legislator Bruno. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
None, adjourned. And so we will go right into the regular session. We've already have attendance called and such. And we'll start out with the, of course, this month's birthdays are Legislator Eve Walters and Vice Chair Tracy Bartels. Both 29 this today or this month.
Happy birthday, girls.
Happy birthday, ladies. All righty. Entertain a motion to dispense with the readings of the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved. So moved.
Seconded by who?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have various communications on file. Take the time to points to read some of these. There is also there's county executives, also communications and memorializing letters. Along with the committee reports. But we're going to start out with the privilege of the floor. I'm giving the privilege of the floor to the Ellenville Regional Hospital. President and CEO Steve Kelly to share various substance use disorder projects involving a number of different communities. And we have Steve Kelly and a bunch of folk which are, he will introduce, will join from the hospital. Sheriff Figueroa will join from another location. Take it away, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me? Hopefully unmuted.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. All right. So first of all, I want to announce that Sheriff Figueroa is here in disguise. He's wearing a mask, just like all of us here, because that's what we have to do to be safe. He He was going to call in from an undisclosed location, but his schedule changed and he's able to join us. So I wanted to start with thanking the chairman, Mr. Donaldson, for giving us this opportunity to talk about the programs that we're working on. I'm Steve Kelly. I'm the president here at Ellenville Regional Hospital. And while I'll be doing the talking tonight, I'll be speaking on behalf of many organizations that are here, including staff from my own. So I would like to also thank all of the legislators. I know many of you personally, and we appreciate the opportunity to share what we're doing and to serve. So a little bit of background before we get into the programs. A few years ago, in 2017, we set up a rural health network that is a partnership with the Ulster County Department of Health and Mental Health and the Institute for Family Health. Those are the founding partners. And we have Vin Martello here tonight. Raise your hand, Vin, from the Ulster County Department of Health. And we have Dr. Christina Persity from the Institute for Family Health. Doctor. So you have those folks here. The Rural Health Network has several core factors that are really the foundation of what we're working towards. We here in the hospital really have been in the sick business for a long time. And it became clear to us that in order to drive down long-term healthcare costs, we had to change, be thinking about wellness. And wellness comes down to a number of core factors: diet, exercise, risk reduction. Risk reduction are things like alcohol, tobacco, illicit drugs, and things like that. These are the first three things are factors that individuals can really influence by changing their behaviors. So learning to eat properly, cutting down on carbohydrates and fats and salt and sugar, and going a little heavier on the protein. And so those are things that we can change ourselves. Stress reduction really addresses the social determinants of healthcare. These are things like housing insecurity, food insecurity, relationship insecurity, employment insecurity. And while we're not always able to change the situations that we find ourselves in, we can learn to cope better with them. So those are kind of coping skills. We have rural health projects that are for children. We're working on obesity prevention, pregnancy prevention for adults. And in adults, we are really focusing on different diseases. Part of the reason for that is that funding sources like to fund programs for diseases. Even though we're about wellness, we're about preventing those diseases as opposed to treating them. We have programs for seniors. We have a pharmacy program, which gives out free produce to about 100 families twice a month, different families. We've had over 1,100 different individuals who've come and been able to benefit from that. Our pharmacist does medication reconciliation to help people to take their drugs properly. And then we have substance abuse disorder initiatives, which is what we're here to talk about tonight. So let's talk about the problem. This is deaths here from opioids here in Ulster County. So in 2017, 42 deaths. 2018, 56 deaths, making us second only to Sullivan County as having the highest death rate per 100,000 in New York State. Terrible, terrible number. A lot of the efforts that we've been working on that we're going to be talking about here tonight help to drive that down, 41% last year. And then COVID hit. COVID hit this year, and it has changed everything. It has taken all the oxygen out of the room. Nobody's thinking about opioids anymore, except for us. And the things that are just going rampant. We have already had almost as many deaths this year through June. And if you add in the pendings, which we're waiting for confirmations on, it will be exceeding last year the projection is well over 2018 for the potentially the worst year that we've ever had. When we look at deaths, they are caused by overdoses. And so when we look at overdoses, we didn't really start tracking those until 2018. And we had 280 that year and 301 in 2019. And look at this year, 260 already. If we project that, that's a 520 for the year, which is an enormous number. And when we look at naloxone or Narcan administrations that have been reported, these aren't the ones necessarily that are not reported because we don't know about those, but those are doubling also. So when we look at that, yes, can you hear me?
Ken Rock, I just want to let you know that the screen is not changing with your PowerPoint presentation.
It is not changing. All right, let us try again. I apologize. Are we getting there now? All right. Okay. Well, this is the graph that I've been talking about. If we look at this graph, this is the problem for opioids. What happens there? Oh, there it goes. Sorry. So this is the graph I was showing. And when we see that, this is the death rate, which looks very ominous for 2020. And this is the overdose rate, which is what causes deaths. And it looks pretty ominous also. So what have we been doing about the opioid epidemic, which is not a new problem? This has been around a long time. Back in 2016, even before the opioid epidemic became a household issue, we started working here in Ellenville in our emergency department. We looked at what we could do to reduce opioid prescriptions. And this project was led by two people in the room here, Ashma Butler, and she's our chief operating officer who really ran this program, and Maria Gonzalez, who's our director of nursing, but at the time was running the emergency department and oversaw the day-to-day operations of this. We reduced opioid orders in the emergency department over time by 97%, which the first hospital really in the country to do that. And you can see the other numbers here are just really pretty remarkable. And every single patient that came to our hospital that did not have a primary care provider was referred to the Institute for Family Health. And they went through and did an assessment of the patients and got them into the appropriate treatment. And so we had a very natural referral relationship. And this program was so successful that the state, which was running something called a DSRIP, which was a redesign of the Medicaid program, featured us as one of the top 10 projects in that 5-year program. And actually, we were the top project. And we submitted this project to the American Hospital Association, and it was accepted. Actually, we had another one accepted. And we sent our team out to San Diego to present at a national conference. And they were really amazed to discover that there were only 20 projects featured in the country, and we had 2 of them. So that is, I'm sorry? Okay. So from there, we advanced, and we were working with Ulster County's task force on opioid prevention. And this is another project. Again, my 2 people, Ashma and Maria, worked on developing this project. And this is called Project Rescue. We had this thought that when somebody has overdosed, if we could get them into treatment at that point, we may have an opportunity to reach them, because there's a moment after they have been Narcan back to life where they might accept treatment. And we worked with our partners at Catholic Charities, Shannon Kelly, who's from Kingston, grew up there, graduated from Coleman, who's now the Chief Operating Officer at Catholic Charities, and Dean Shear, who's her boss, helped us by providing a peer counselor to 24/7 to come and to assist us to help connect someone into treatment. And we offered Suboxone immediately, or buprenorphine, I use those interchangeably, right in the ER. And we're the first hospital in the Hudson Valley to do that. And we partnered with the sheriff and his whole department. Some of his team are here. And they brought patients from all over Ulster County to benefit from this. And so we were able to try to get people into treatment after an overdose, immediately afterwards. This is just a flow chart of how it worked, kind of complicated. I just wanted to illustrate that we were able to draw boxes, and then out the bottom we have people that are getting into treatment. What we discovered is that not everyone is ready for treatment. We were very disappointed that many people said to us, "No, I'm not really ready for this. I just want to get out of here as fast as I can." And we weren't able to get them into treatment. And we realized we had to adapt and improvise our program some for another path for harm reduction. And so we started having a whole bunch of different things, such as fentanyl test strips, so they could see if fentanyl was in there, because fentanyl is much more deadly than pretty much every other substance that there is. And naloxone kit, so that which is Narcan for reversing if they overdose, and a whole bunch of programs. And then we took it this year to having a text line so that we're able to have individuals who are in danger, they're able to text us. This just was launched in May, a brand new program, so that they can get access to harm reduction supplies and information on programs. So then our latest thing that we're working on, which is not yet launched, is another partnership. And it's a partnership with all the folks in this room. And what it does is it allows us to have a software system, an actual system that helps to, it doesn't help, we're able to put in people who are having adverse health outcomes somewhere in the system and enroll them into our NET system. The Network Engagement Tracker, or NET, is really the safety net to capture people and save them, capture them, or catch them as they're falling through the cracks in the system. And we enter them into that system, and it allows us to track all of their inpatient visits, ER visits, AMAs if they decide to bolt out, or any other times that they hit the system. And what we have is we have three teams. We have a fatality review team where we review all the fatalities. And we try to understand how that fatality happened and what we could have done to prevent it, because our goal is to become forward-leaning and look as people are having various events such as missing doctor's appointments for their Suboxone or other type of things. What is it that are the triggers, so that we can have one of our community health workers or members of the Oracle team from the sheriff's office visit these people in advance of them having an overdose to try and get them back on track so that we can prevent overdoses, which in many cases leads to death. So this is a very innovative program. There is no other program around here that does quite like what we're doing. We're actually inventing the future here. And we've been able to get some substantial grant money to help with that. And we're including Greene County and Columbia County in this effort. So this is a pretty big deal. This leads into our treatment and recovery navigation, which is an extension of another part of this. I would say that working with law enforcement is something that in the healthcare community, we have not experienced very much before. Typically, there are different lanes. There's the healthcare lane, and we take care of people when they're sick. And there's the law enforcement lane, which takes care of people when they're involved in criminal activity, and they don't usually intersect that much. But as you can see from this list, we intersect a lot, a huge amount with law enforcement, and that's why I invited the sheriff to come, because he's been such a partner here in the last year or so. It's just been really pretty amazing. Let's see, I had a few other thoughts. And then, well, we have a lot of partners. The Institute for Family Health has been our medical partner on every project. The Ulster County you all, which you may not realize it, have been deeply involved in the opioid crisis, really leaders in the country, and that may not be well known, because it's hard to be heroes in your hometown. I can tell you that we've presented at 19 conferences over the last 2 years, and small hospitals usually attend conferences. They don't present at them, and to do 19 in 2 years is pretty amazing, and this has been the #1 topic that we've discussed. So you can see the Ulster County Sheriff's Department, Catholic Charities, Ellenville Rescue Squad, Step 1, the National Guard's Counter Drug Task Force has been worked with us, the DA's office, Saugerties Police, Gateway of the Hudson Valley. We have Stephanie Turco here, who's the CEO of Gateway. So I'd like you to know about that. And then you see some of the other folks, the Ellenville Police Department, Columbia University, Chatham Police, they're up in Columbia County. Twin County Recoveries is Greene County, People USA, Zero Overdose. So it is a very, very broad section of partners to make this all work. So finally, I would close with this graph again. This is what we're up against. And everything has been completely hidden by COVID. COVID has just taken over everything. And while that's gotten all of the publicity this year, opioids has really been coming back and coming back strong. And we're doing everything we can to fight, using all the tools that we have developed in the past and our whole experience, and form these incredible partnerships. So Ulster County is really a tremendous leader in the fight against the opioid crisis, even though it isn't maybe as well known here as it is that we've presented all over the country. Our Max Series project that we did in the ER is in other hospitals all over the country have adopted our protocols, most locally, the folks in Kingston at Health Alliance in Poughkeepsie, at Mid-Hudson. We helped them implement those protocols to reduce opioid administration in the ER. So that is my conclusion. We appreciate the opportunity to share with you the things that we're doing together, and assure you that Ulster County is at the forefront of fighting the opioid epidemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. I wanted to, for those that don't know or don't remember, it was 16 years ago, approximately 16 years ago, when Steve Kelly came before this body and needed some help to save the Ellenville Hospital from collapse. That was 16 years ago. Today, he's brought that hospital to one of the most remarkable small hospitals in the nation. And we should be very proud of him, and really proud of this body, what it did to assure that place stayed open. And so thank you, Steve. I really appreciate your time.
During that time when we really needed it, And we appreciate the legislature appropriating and giving us money that we needed at the time. And I want to also say we're very proud of the fact that we paid back every penny of it.
Very good.
Who paid back the government? I mean, we did that because it was the right thing to do, and we've been honorable in every way, and we really appreciate the relationship with Ulster County.
Thank you again, Steve. All right, now we'll be going into public comment. How many people have signed up, Vicki?
We currently have 13 people signed up.
Alrighty, so let me advise the 13 people. We can each have 2 minutes each. We'll give you a little leeway if you're finishing up a sentence. Please refrain from addressing individual legislators. Legislators cannot respond or answer. It is their job to listen here. Okay, go ahead, Vicki.
Okay, I'm going to call the speakers in the order that they called into us. And what I will ask is that any of our speakers, if you can lower your computer volume, that will help us to not have any feedback when you speak. The first speaker we have signed up is Erin Burud.
Hello, good evening. My name is Erin Burud. I'm speaking with regards to Resolution 235. I have known Lauren Sheely professionally since 2014. She has been my colleague, my mentor, my manager, and most recently, my predecessor in my current position, managing a not-for-profit law office. Please note the following sentiments are mine and not those of my employer. I know firsthand that Lauren is intelligent and passionate about justice equality. She has dedicated her life to helping vulnerable populations who lack access to justice for one reason or another. She's organized, thorough, and a fierce advocate for both her clients and her staff. Lauren is efficient and knowledgeable when it comes to managing staff. She's resilient and level-headed, and she's able to make those tough calls that many of us would rather not. She's extremely resourceful. As a manager, she has always been able to obtain the tools and training that her staff needs to do their jobs effectively, including obtaining anti-racism and cultural sensitivity training. Lauren's accomplishment that I am most in awe of, especially now as I try to fill her shoes, is that she took an office of 4 attorneys with very minimal administrative support and grew it to an office of 7 attorneys and 5 non-attorney advocates and paralegals in just a matter of 4 years. Anyone who has ever worked for a not-for-profit or a grant-funded position knows that this is no small feat. In order to achieve this, she sought out, applied for, and helped sustain grants that brought hundreds of thousands of dollars to Ulster County for domestic violence and crime victims work, eviction prevention, rental assistance, and an ombudsman program for managed long-term care. This funding was all for the benefit of Ulster County residents, and by directly assisting those in need, these grants have also saved the county a tremendous amount of money. And this is a skill that I think makes Lauren an incredible asset to this position. A lot of the press coverage I've seen surrounding Lauren's appointment seems to be focused on qualifications she may not have, but I urge the members of the legislature to consider her proven qualifications, the ones that she does have. I know that Lauren is 100% committed to Ulster County and its residents, and I have no doubt that if Lauren is confirmed as Ulster County Public Defender, the office will thrive, the community will benefit. I thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of this remarkable woman.
The next speaker signed up is Peter Frank.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman and legislators. I am the senior attorney at Legal Services of the Hudson Valley. I am speaking in support of Lauren Sheely's candidacy for the Public Defender's Office. I worked with Lauren for 6 years at Legal Services in Kingston. I've been practicing law for 50 years. I graduated from Harvard Law School in 1971. I worked for a major Wall Street law firm in New York City before I came to Ulster County in 2000. And since 2000, I've been practicing law in Ulster County. I've appeared before County Court Judge Williams, all of the Supreme Court judges, Judge Bradley, God rest his soul, and Judge Kavanaugh. I am speaking on behalf of Lauren Shealy because she is qualified to be the public defender. I stood next to Lauren while she practiced law in Kingston City Court, in town and village justice courts, and in other settings where she's shown as an attorney. She has the skills, I know that. She has practiced law effectively in support of her clients, and she will continue to practice law in support of the public defender's office and those who come to the public defender's office for legal representation. I wholly and fully support Lauren's candidacy, and I hope the legislature will as well. Thank you.
The next speaker signed up is Sheba Murray Cohen. I'm sorry, Sharon Murray Cohen.
Go to the next and then you can call her back later.
The next speaker signed up is Sheba Murray Cohen.
Yes, good evening. Actually, it's Sharon Murray Cohn. And
I'm sorry, Sharon Murray Cohen.
And I'm here in support of Lauren Shealy also. My agency, Jewish Family Services, has had the Elder Abuse Multidisciplinary Team grant from the Office of Aging and the Office of Victim Services, New York State. Yes, good evening. Actually, it's Sharon Murray Cohn. And I'm here in support of Lauren Shealy also. My agency, Jewish Family Services. I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback from you. Multidisciplinary grant from the Office of Aging and the Office of Victim Services, New York State. Sharon Murray Cohn. I'm here for Lauren Shealy also.
I'm not sure what's going on at this
The
point.
problem is that she's listening to the live stream and she's on the call-in studio, so we're getting some feedback. But what we'll do is we'll move that person down and we'll go with Sheba Matai.
Earlier. My name is Sheba Matai. I am the Chief Diversity Officer and Attorney in charge of the Rockland County Office of Legal Services of the Hudson Valley. I thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of Lauren Shealy. I speak personally and not in my capacity as a legal services employee. I started as a staff attorney in 2011 at Legal Services of the Hudson Valley, which I believe is around the same time that Lauren Shealy started as a staff attorney. In 2015, I believe is around the time that she was promoted to attorney in charge. She and I worked together as attorneys in charge of different counties. Obviously, she for Ulster County and I for Rockland County, but we worked on the leadership team together for the remainder of her time with Legal Services. I've always found Lauren to be extremely genuine. She's very sincere. She is tenacious. She stands up for what is right and she speaks out whether or not she has support of others. She will not rest until she is able to speak her mind about what she believes to be right. In my personal observations of Lauren, I found her to be a delightful person. She's extremely personable. She has a quality about her that I think is essential in leadership, which is that she is a community builder and she really connects with her team. As Erin said earlier, she took a team of 4 and grew the office to quite a large size by the time she left. And her office's morale, I would say, increased tremendously as a result of her leadership and her care and attention to each and every single person on her team. I think that's truly a very positive and admirable attribute of hers. As Chief Diversity Officer, I have worked closely with Lauren in the past on diversity, equity, and inclusion training, including anti-racism training. And, while these efforts are agency-wide, Lauren was an attorney in charge who really stood up as a leader, and she was a great example, I think, to her office of what it means to try to do this work and to do it well for our clients and the communities that we serve. She, like I said, always speaks up. She's direct, and she will not rest until she makes her point about the things that she feels are right. And again, in my observation of Lauren, she truly believes in justice for all, and she makes that clear. I think she also has a tremendous quality about her in that she's very detail-oriented. She is very responsible.
Could you please wrap it up? You're going past the time.
Sure. She's very responsible about grants and administering those grants and programs, and I've worked with her closely on an ICANN program, and I'm delighted to be able to speak in favor of her this evening. Thank you for the time.
Okay, our very, very awesome call screener, Fawn Tantillo, has taken care of the audio problem on the speaker before. So let's try again, Sharon Murray Cohen.
Sorry about that. What I would like to say about Lauren is that she is one of the most well-rounded attorneys that I have ever met. She has excellent administrative skills, as have been described by individuals who have worked with her. She has excellent legal skills. I've witnessed that when we've had difficult cases in terms of financial elder abuse, and she has always been willing to make suggestions, do referrals, or anything needed to assist the team and to help the individual. I strongly support her position, and I am hoping that you will too. Thank you.
The next speaker signed up is Elizabeth Lee.
Hello? Hello? Do you hear me?
We can hear you, but if you could
Okay,
turn down
great.
the live stream on your, turn down your audio on your live stream.
Okay. Is that better? Okay.
It is.
Good
it is.
evening.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Lee from New Paltz. I am asking the legislature to pass resolution number 263 about funding for cybersecurity upgrades in advance of the general election. I feel this funding from the state is very important to ensure the election security of our November election. This is a critical election year, and voters need to have confidence in the election process. So I hope all the legislatures will support passing the resolution of number 263. Thank you.
The next speaker signed up is Adrian Thiel.
Good evening. I'm speaking in support of Resolution 235. My name is Adrienne Thiel, and I work and live in Ulster County, as do many of my friends and family. I even began my legal career here representing individuals in criminal proceedings in the local justice courts up to the county court and in front of Judge Williams. I'm currently representing residents of Ulster County and Ulster County primarily in family court matters. Now, I must preface that I'm speaking tonight on behalf of myself and personal beliefs, not on behalf of the organization that I'm employed by. But that being said, I've watched Attorney Shealy handle trials, manage a full staff of attorneys, and secure funding for our community, all while connecting the most vulnerable population of our community with the appropriate services and support. As it is my understanding, the purpose of the Office of the Public Defender is to safeguard individual rights for members of this community. The Public Defender is responsible for planning, implementing, coordinating, and directing the activities of that office and ensuring that the members of our community receive the services they need. It is my opinion that Ms. Shealy has a proven track record of 3 necessary elements for this position: experience representing the individuals that make up our community, experience managing a large law office, including grant work, and experience and familiarity with the Ulster County community, as is evidenced by the people speaking on her behalf this evening. I truly believe that by confirming Attorney Shealy's appointment, it would not only be securing an invaluable asset for the Public Defender's Office, but most importantly for the individuals that make up this community. Myself, the individuals on this call, and the individuals in that room. And therefore, I would urge you to confirm her appointment this evening. Thank you for your time. I know it's valuable.
The next speaker signed up is Mike Berg.
Thank you. I want to confirm a lot of what has been said about Lauren Shealy. I've worked with her in 2 capacities. One as the Executive Director of Family of Woodstock. We have mutually referring clients. We've worked together on a number of cases. I can confirm that she is certainly devoted, dogged in fighting for her clients, a skilled attorney, and very organized, and ran a very tight ship while she was at Legal Services. I also worked with Lauren as the Vice Chair of the Continuum of Care, HUD's Continuum of Care. I've been the chair since its beginning, and I was very pleased to have the help that Lauren gave me in running and building the organization. As the chair, but also as a recipient of a number of the grants, there were times when it did not feel that I should lead the discussion, and she took over and did a very strong job. I would make one other observation. I'm the son of an attorney. My father specialized in admiralty law, law about ships. But before that, he was an attorney. He was really smart. He gave good advice. He knew about the law. And I expect that Lauren would do the same. She's very committed to her work. She ran a tight ship at Legal Services, and I feel very comfortable to recommend her. While I have you, I would just add one more thing which I didn't expect. When I came on the phone, I heard the person from Farmbridge. And I would like the legislature to know that that organization has been providing free food to help with the effort of COVID-19, and particularly family has been distributing hundreds of pounds of food that they've donated to help with that effort. So I can recommend the Farmbridge as well. Thank you for your time.
The next speaker signed up is Angela Figurelli.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Sorry. Hello?
Yes, yep, we can hear you clearly.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. I am speaking about Resolution 235, and I just want to say that I am speaking on my own personal opinions, and I'm not opining as the opinions of my employer. I felt compelled here to speak tonight because I consider Ms. Shealy an exceptional colleague, not just because I'm a resident of Ulster County, but because I believe that in order for there to be true justice, everyone is entitled to quality representation in all court proceedings. I care very deeply about this community. I became an attorney to help the people in this county specifically. I grew up here. I chose to raise a family here. My friends and family have lived here for generations. Should the time come when any one of them needs legal counsel, especially in a criminal matter, I want them to have access to the best, and Ms. Shealy is the best. To be clear, I would not be here tonight speaking in front of favor of Ms. Shealy if I did not believe her to be more than capable of the job. To do so would be an injury to the people who live here and undermine everything I personally believe in and have worked for. The Office of the Public Defender and the job of the public defender is to be an administrator responsible for the day-to-day operations of the assistant public defenders. The cultivation of the employees, enhancement and expansion of the office. The public defender themselves does not spend their days in the courtroom. Instead, her job is to garner the tools and supports her staff need to do their job effectively and efficiently as possible. Our prior public defender has even commented that the administrative role of this office limits one's ability to be present in the courtroom. As someone who has worked under Lauren Shirley for several years, I can honestly say that she excels in all of these areas. She knows how to expand an office. She knows how to enhance her colleagues, how to be a supportive role model, and how to help the attorneys underneath her. During the time that she worked for us, she increased our funding and doubled our staffing, directly translating into more Ulster County residents having access to justice. Ms. Shealy mentored me when I was a new attorney. She taught me how to conduct a trial. And if I have learned anything else from her, is that if you don't know the answer, you can figure it out. She knows how to conduct legal research and to try a case. And let me assure you, a trial attorney is a trial attorney. You either know how to litigate a case or you don't. It doesn't matter what the area of law is, the skill set is the same. Ms. Shealy taught me and many others how to conduct a trial. I have second chaired her on more cases than I can count. Not to mention that thanks to the recent bail reform and discovery laws, all attorneys are relearning the crucial elements
You are beyond
of criminal
the
procedure.
time frame. You are beyond the time frame.
Oh, okay.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker signed up is Kelly McMullen.
Me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. Great. Hi. Thank you so much, Chairman and legislative representatives, for tonight and allowing me to speak. I am in support of Lauren Shealy as the leader of the Public Defender's Office in Ulster County. I was the former director of the Office for the Aging for Ulster County, and I also worked in the Mental Health Department for years in the administrative office, and I was responsible for the high-risk clients of Ulster County. And I will tell you that it's about partnerships and relationships, and that's how I got to know Lauren when she worked for Hudson Valley Legal Services, because a lot of my clients were perceived to be dangerous, and it's a myth. Most are victims of crime and not dangerous, and many of their issues related to social determinants of health that Steve Kelly was talking about: housing, alcohol and drug treatment, domestic violence intervention, and so forth. So I will tell you, I came to know Lauren because she would advocate on behalf of my clientele, supporting them to live in the community safely and remain in the community safely. And I have to echo what everybody else said here tonight about her intelligence, her dedication, her leadership skills. I saw all of that in spades. But here's what I want to say right now. COVID has really demonstrated to me that your role as local leaders, while it's always been important, is probably no more important than now. I look at what's happening at state and governor levels, and I look at what's happening at presidential levels and federal levels, and I really feel like now is the time that we have really strong leadership at the local level. Sorry, I had my timer on. And I think that Lauren will serve you extremely well in that regard. She understands we can't just incarcerate or persecute everyone who's going to come right now washed up because of COVID, without health care, without housing, all the problems that are about to come. And I think she's a level head. She will not make a gopher hole for you. She's reasonable. I think you're going to have a lot to sort out now in the coming 18 months or 2 years. And I think she'd be a fabulous partner for you guys in that. And I thank you. I guess my time is up.
Yes, it's been up, yes.
The next speaker is Robert Fisher.
Hi, I found that a lot of my thunder was sort of taken by previous people who testified regarding Lauren's intelligence and work ethic and all of that. And so I'm going to switch gears a little bit. And I'm here to support Lauren, and I want to tell you that I think I have a fairly unique view on it. I myself have worked closely with Lauren for the past year in the Ulster County Attorney's Office. During my career, for 25 years, I've served as an attorney for Ulster County government. I've been an assistant public defender, an assistant district attorney, a staff attorney at DSS, and an assistant Ulster County attorney. And I can tell you that what is required of the Ulster County public defender is a manager, someone that can run an office. I think it's an absurd idea to think that the chief public defender of the county should be routinely trying felony cases. The purpose of that person in that position is to manage, supervise, and lead an office. And I think that Ms. Shealy is highly, highly qualified to do that. As I said, I've worked closely with her. I have seen her in action. There have been times when the county attorney's not been available, and she's been the leader in our office for days at a time, and she has always exceeded anyone's expectations in that regard. So I really ask you to look past this idea that she has not handled a criminal case or not tried felonies, and really look at what we expect the public defender to be doing. The public defender is there to supervise and lead an office. And I think it's very misguided to think otherwise. Thank you.
The next speaker signed up is Tom Denton.
Hello, my name is Tom Denton, New Paltz. I'm calling to support Resolution 263 tonight. I have a sense of deja vu. Last year around this time, the Republican side of the aisle was resisting the effort to use all of the money offered by New York State to expand the number of early voting sites in Ulster County. Good sense prevailed, though, and the early voting process last year went smoothly at 7 sites, I believe. Tonight, there seems to be contention about whether the County Board of Elections will proceed with this grant that can bring over $100,000 to improve election cybersecurity for November. Judging from comments in the Law and Rules Committee last night, the debate seems to be based on Republicans' complaints about process and the timeliness of the grant submission. The right side of the aisle seems, again, to resist the flow of money into the county to support the election process. Is it the Republicans' job to critique the application process here? You'd think that would be the responsibility of the granting agency. It appears here instead that the Republican caucus is working hard to confirm the public view that the party is at all levels trying to interfere with citizens' right to vote. Free, fair, and efficient elections are not a partisan issue. I do hope that the Republican caucus and the full legislature will do the right thing, pass the resolution, take the money, serve the civic interests of the people you represent. Thank you.
The next speaker signed up is John Colon.
Hello, my name is John Colon. I'm speaking on behalf of Ms. Shealy. Thank you all for your time this evening. When I heard about this legislative meeting, I felt it was important to provide my input, as I have worked with Ms. Shealy on a few occasions. She showed intelligence, a solid understanding of the legal arena, and absolute dedication to providing the best advocacy for her clients. Having successfully managed a multi-lawyer nonprofit agency that served some of the most marginalized people in our community, she has demonstrated her experience and fluency in legal matters, specifically as they relate to the most indigent people in our county. Lauren would make workshops, free clinics available to people in their own neighborhoods to offer advice and guidance that would help them advocate for themselves when she wasn't taking these cases on herself. She taught me that this struggle, this good fight, doesn't exist in between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday, but it's a 24/7 thing. It requires sacrifice at times and resolute determination. Navigating the legal system with confidence and understanding is something you should expect from your lawyer. But when I worked with a client that had suffered a stroke and severe brain damage, this attorney went the extra mile and took the time to go over the client's case until the client felt confident and safe that she was in good hands. We know that time is a precious commodity, and so not every lawyer is afforded the opportunity to spend time with a client until the client feels heard, understood, and properly represented. But it seems that someone forgot to tell Lauren that, because she painstakingly takes the time to do all of these things in every circumstance where I've seen her at work. Isn't that who we want as a public defender?
Could you wrap it up?
Thank you for this time again.
Thank you.
The last speaker we have signed up is Christine DeMeo.
Hi, this is Christina DeMeo. I'm a town of Platico resident. I am formerly a Lloyd resident, and I am calling today on behalf of the voices of the developmentally disabled. Group home residents for 123 days who had been prisoners of their own homes, who were not allowed out for a walk down the street, for a ride in their vehicle. And that changed on Friday. And that changed on Friday thanks to our legislatures putting people before politics, whether they were Republicans or Democrats or conservatives. They were fighting for us. And I just have to take this time to thank Ms. Heidi Haynes, Kevin Roberts, James Delarue, I hope I said that correctly, Herbie Litz, Thomas Corcoran, and far and beyond that, Senator Amador's office, Cahill's office, and Skolfis's office. Because of you guys and several calls and emails and listening to me complain for a long time, group home residents were allowed out after 123 days with their parents. They were allowed out for car rides, for swims, and I can't thank you enough for all of your help to get to this point. And I just thought, you deserve some recognition for once instead of some judgment. So thank you.
There's no one else signed up, Chairman.
All righty, let's go into the agenda then.
I believe there is definitely movement into consent.
If you're ready to go, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to move resolutions 208, 257, and 264 from non-consent to consent.
You concur with that, Legislator Ronk?
I do.
All right, they are moved into there. On the consent agenda?
On the consent agenda, we are a short yes with one abstention on resolution 264 from Legislator Gaveras for the purpose of employment.
We're sure, yes.
The resolutions are adopted 23-0 with the exception of resolution 264, which is adopted 22-0 with one abstention, Legislator Gaveras. Yeah, I'll read the titles. Resolution on the non-consent. Resolution 129, authorizing the chair of the Ulster County Legislature to enter into an agreement with Awareness Inc. for the 2020 appropriation legislature.
Legislator Parity?
No, but he's muted.
I think you are muted, Legislator Parity.
You're not. He's not muted, but his volume's not up.
You need to turn your volume up, Legislator Parity. You gotta get your Volume up.
The microphone volume.
We cannot hear you.
He's going to get somebody. Yeah, maybe.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
to move this along, I would be willing to make the amendment that legislative parity is intending to make, if that works for you.
That works for me. If nobody else has any complaints about that.
Sounds good to me.
I move that I'd like to make an amendment to this resolution that the amount be restored to the amount that was originally listed in the resolution.
All righty. Do we have a second?
I'd like to second that.
All right. It's made, but technically by John Parody through Ken Rock, and seconded by Laura Petit. On the amendment, any comments? No comments? I'll entertain the vote.
On the resolution, I have our caucus as a short no. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we are short no.
No, I think Laura Petit is a yes, isn't she?
Yeah, I'm a yes on that.
So we're a short no with one yes, legislator Petit.
All right. On this on the amendment, the Republican caucus is a short no with, and Legislator Worrell will correct me if I'm wrong on this, but probably with one yes, Legislator Worrell.
Correct.
There we go.
The amendment is defeated 3-20.
All right, on the resolution.
On the resolution, we are a short yes.
We're a short yes on the resolution.
Okay, thank you.
The resolution is adopted 23-0. The next resolution is Resolution 130, authorizing the chair of the Ulster County Legislature to execute an agreement with the Walker Valley Chemical Engine Number 1 for the 2020 appropriation legislature.
And what is that amount again?
That is the Walker Valley contract. I believe there's no speakers on this one. It was just, they can call the vote.
Well, I'm a little unsure of where did this resolution come from then?
It's in non-consent because Legislator Lopez is a no, but he doesn't want to speak, so they can just call the vote.
Oh, okay, very good. All right, we'll call the vote then.
On the resolution, we are a short yes.
On the resolution, we are a short yes with one no, Legislator Lopez.
The resolution is adopted 22-1. Resolution 136, authorizing the chair of the Ulster County Legislature to enter into agreement with Ulster County Community Action, Inc. for the 2020 appropriation legislature.
Legislator Parody, has he got his mic or anything working properly? Legislator Parody, can you, do you have a volume somewhere that you can turn up? I take that as a no. All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yes.
Legislator Fabiano?
Yes. On Legislator Parody's behalf, which I would be in agreement with, I would like to make an amendment to this resolution to restore the funding as it was in the beginning.
I'll second that.
And this is for community action.
That's correct.
Okay.
I'll second it, Chair.
Yes, you seconded it. Is there any speakers on this? Does anyone wish to speak? Did you wish to say anything about it, Legislator Fabiano?
Well, the only thing I would like to say with the pandemic that's going on, they play a very vital role without the pandemic. So with the pandemic, they're even needed more than ever. I don't understand why at this time we would cut their funding. I think it's important that it stays in place and they can continue to serve the people of Ulster County accordingly.
All right, thank you. Legislator Petit?
Thank you, Chair. Ulster County Community Action has many programs, all equally important. They do weatherization, they do the Head Start program, which is very important now because we don't know if the kids are going to be going back to school. And even more importantly, they have a food pantry that's critical right now because we don't know what the economic downturn is going to be. So I can't see cutting the funding for this particular program, which is really programs.
Alrighty, Legislator Criswell?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I mentioned this the other night that I'm uncomfortable with this process because hours and hours and hours were spent in different committees talking about these funding situations, and there were many concessions made on both sides about what funding was going to be cut, what funding was going to be saved, and I feel like the process of sort of a very last minute ditch effort to refund programs is an inappropriate way to do our business. We came to an agreement as committees and we all sacrificed on our pet projects that we were trying to support. And so now I'm just very uncomfortable for the way that this is being processed at this moment.
Alrighty, but as a point of information, typically, this is not atypical. Alrighty, anybody else wish to speak? Having none, I'd call for the vote.
On the amendment, we're a short no with 1 yes, Legislator Petit.
No, I'll be a yes also.
And Legislator Donaldson.
We are a short yes with, short no with 2 yeses on the amendment, legislators Fabiano and Worrow.
The Legislator Parity is yes on that amendment. I also have a way for him to be heard in the future. And he doesn't want to talk on this one though, right? And the amendment is defeated 5-18.
Alrighty, on the resolution?
On the resolution, we are, I believe, a short yes, unless Legislator Petit and you, Chairman Donaldson, are noticed.
No, we're a yes.
We're a yes. Yep.
Then we'll a short yes.
We are also a short yes.
The resolution is adopted 23-0. Resolution 143, authorizing the chair of the Ulster County Legislature to execute an agreement with Ulster Performing Arts Center for the 2020 appropriation legislature.
On the resolution, anyone wish to
On
speak?
the
You want to try and talk?
I am not seeing anyone. If somebody does wish to speak, unmute themselves and call it out.
I'm not going to bother.
All right, you're not going to bother. Okay, very good. So on the resolution.
On the resolution,
Legislator Parity is a no, but he doesn't want to speak.
All right, go ahead, Legislator. Leader.
On the resolution, we are a short yes.
We're a short yes on the resolution as well.
The resolution is adopted 22-1. Resolution 191 was postponed in committee. Resolution 196, approving the execution of a contract amendment in excess of $50,000 entered into by the county, the trustees of Columbia University in the City of New York, Department of Health.
Legislator Archer.
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment in the total value of the contract to $696,148.26. So as amended before you.
I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Legislator Abner. On the amendment?
On the amendment, we're a short yes.
We're a short yes.
The amendment is adopted 23-0.
On the resolution, we're a short yes.
On the, okay, thank you. On the resolution,
We are a short yes.
We're a short yes as well.
The resolution is adopted 23-0. Resolution 208 was moved to consent. Resolution 230, establishing a policy requiring the reporting of all expenditures made by Ulster County in relation to the former Tech City property.
on the resolution,
On the resolution, we're a short yes.
On the resolution, we're a short no with 2 yeses, legislators Fabiano and Bruno.
For the record, Legislator Parity is a no. The resolution is adopted 14-9. Resolution number 234, adopting proposed local law number 5 of 2020, a local law amending chapter 37 of the Code of the County of Ulster regarding automatic recanvassing procedure in and for the County of Ulster, State of New York.
on the resolution,
We are a short yes.
We are also a short yes.
Legislator Parity is a no. The resolution is adopted 22-1. Resolution 235, confirming the appointment of Lauren Shealy as Director of Ulster County's Public Defender's Office.
alrighty. On the resolution, Legislator Walters.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to thank everybody who spoke out today. I love to see the energy and intensity and interest in this position, and also all the people who did not feel comfortable speaking out, who may, on whichever side they were. It's great to see people care about this position. So we have the opportunity right now to achieve excellence in one of the most important leadership roles in criminal justice. And for those of you who may not know me as well, I take criminal justice reform, discrimination and equity very seriously. And I professionally dedicated over 2 decades in these specific areas. And while I agree that there is sexism in the professional field of criminal justice and law, as there is everywhere, and I would be happy to have hours and hours of conversation with people about that another time, my decision against this appointment is related solely to the legal history and defined purpose of the Chief Public Defender and a vision for public legal defense in our county in the midst of criminal justice reform, Black Lives Matter, and COVID. So the role of the public defender is defined by law. The Sixth Amendment initially provides the right to counsel for criminal trials. And in 1963, in Gideon versus Wainwright, the Supreme Court expanded the Sixth Amendment, unanimously arguing that no one should be denied a defense lawyer in a trial due to being unable to afford it. In 1984, this was expanded further in Strickland versus Washington to argue not only the right to a counsel, but the right to effective counsel. So why was this term effective important? Because our country has had a long history of ineffective public defenders. Movies have mocked this system, portraying public defenders as bumbling and inept. And why? Because these have typically been attorneys who have been underpaid, underskilled, and overworked. So in response to this particular problem, the Indigent Defense Oversight Committee in New York identified that at a minimum, supervising lawyers or chief public defenders should be able to, 1, discuss cases, strategies, and ethical considerations, 2, help prepare witnesses, 3, review written work prior to submission, 4, conduct simulated moot court oral advocacy sessions, 5, accompany staff lawyers to court when necessary, and 6, provide critique, feedback, and evaluation of staff lawyers' performance. To achieve these standards, one needs years of trial experience and criminal trial experience. In the opinion by Justice Black, in Gideon versus Wainwright, the initiation of the public defense system we know today, he writes, quote, that government hires lawyers to prosecute and defendants to have the money to hire lawyers to defend are the strongest indication of the widespread belief that lawyers in criminal courts are necessities, not luxuries. From the very beginning, our state and national constitutions and laws have laid great emphasis on procedural and substantive safeguards designed to assure fair trials before impartial tribunals in which every defendant stands equal before the law. This noble idea cannot be realized if the poor man charged with crime has to face his accuser without a lawyer to assist him, end quote. So does effective counsel mean that they have a proven experience caring for indigent populations? Honestly, while that is a positive addition to any public defender, the experience is defined by law and is represented in the true nature of being a public defender is the skill to represent a person in a trial if they can't pay. Sometimes this means protecting the innocent who is also indigent. Always, it's ensuring a fair trial, even if the person has blatantly committed even the most heinous of crimes. All people deserve a right to a fair trial. People who are vulnerable due to poverty, which due to structural racism is disproportionately people of color, can be treated unfairly in our criminal justice system. The chief public defender is the first responder charged to protect these individuals when they're brought to trial and must be skilled and confident to do so. And second, a prominent advocate for change. So my no vote tonight is a vote in favor of a process that ensures that we can achieve both of these goals. Thank you.
Chairman?
Anyone else? Yes, Legislator Petit.
I would like to call for a long vote on this.
We will, but there will be some debate first. We allow that. Legislator Criswell.
Yeah, I'd like to read a short statement. I've given this decision many, many hours of consideration. I reached out to lawyers, to community leaders, and to constituents. I've read dozens of job postings for chief public defenders. What it's boiled down to for me is that this is a very specialized leadership position that requires a wide variety of skills. Critics of this appointment are saying Ms. Shealy lacks criminal trial experience. That's true. But I believe she makes up for that with her overall ability to direct the operations of this office, overseeing a team of approximately 13 criminal court attorneys, 7 family court attorneys, as well as nearly a dozen admin staff. She will have a huge knowledge base at her disposal. She also has significant experience crafting annual budgets, securing funding, monitoring case assignments and caseloads, developing and implementing effective policies, and providing assistance to attorneys as needed to assure they have the resources to properly and robustly do their jobs. She also has substantial experience compassionately serving the most vulnerable members of this community. I interviewed Ms. Shealy myself and asked her a battery of questions. At the end of our conversation, I felt confident that if given the chance, she'll do great things in this role. I'll be a yes on her appointment.
Legislator Bartels.
You're muted.
Legislator Bartels, you're muted.
Sorry, I was having a problem unmuting. Thank you. Tonight, we are asked to confirm the nomination of the executive's appointment to the role of public defender. Our decision will have far-reaching consequences, both on the function and direction of the office and on the lives of the many citizens that they will be called upon to represent. For that reason, I consider it to be the single most important legislative confirmation. And yet, over the course of the past several weeks and multiple conversations with colleagues and members of the community, it has been repeatedly suggested that as an executive appointment, our job is simply to verify that the charter requirements are met, that legal and proper process was followed, and that the candidate is therefore constitutionally eligible. One person in county government went so far as to state that the legislature is duty bound to affirm the appointment if these minimum standards are met. In fact, that suggestion is legally and functionally bankrupt. As a separate branch of government, the legislature is a check on the executive branch. The charter does not state we must confirm. It requires that in order to take office, only that the candidate shall be subject to confirmation by vote of the majority of the legislature. It in no way limits or designates that which we may consider. Appointee interviews and questions are a part of a decision-making process. Due diligence is a requirement of good government. There has been much debate and discussion about the merit of certain qualifications for the role of Chief Public Defender of Ulster County. It is uncontested that the candidate lacks any criminal experience, trial or otherwise. The qualifications on file with the Personnel Office require a minimum of 5 years as a practicing attorney in the field of criminal law, 3 years of which must have involved court appearances in the trial of issues in this field. Yet when the job was posted, all references to criminal expertise were removed. Also on file with personnel is the most current job description for assistant public defender. Among the list of performance knowledge, skills, and abilities expected of any candidate are the following: thorough knowledge of the principles and practices of criminal law as applicable to state and federal law, thorough knowledge of criminal court procedures and rules of evidence, skill in the preparation of briefs, skill in the presentation of a defense before a jury. This description was adopted in 1980 and is repeated verbatim in the Chief Public Defender's position. It remains the current and active on file description. The Executive's Office has argued that the description on file predates the charter and is therefore null and void. Should we be concerned that the Assistant Public Defender position description is no longer deemed relevant or applicable? Where will minimum standards be set? These may be academic and technical debates, but the merit of experience is not. Best practice is an important consideration. Susan Bryant, Executive Director of the New York State Defenders Association, provided a memo to the Legislative Council on July 8th. It was circulated to all members. Included are references to multiple standards for the recruitment of a chief public defender, all of which speak to the importance of merit and independence. The apparent lowering of previous Ulster County standards prior to commencing this search is an issue of grave concern. The memo states the following: in setting its minimum requirements for a public defender, counties should look at the minimum requirements set elsewhere for public defenders and assigned counsel attorney. As the chief public defender is responsible for handling his or her own caseload in some offices and supervising assistant public defenders, the minimum requirement must be greater than the requirement for assistant public defenders and assigned counsel. Candidates must be able to demonstrate that they have trial experience, skills, and training to handle and diligently represent clients in complex felony and family court cases. The candidate's demonstration of skills and experience must include examples of complex cases that he or she has directly handled and tried. Further, candidate references must be able to confirm that the candidate's skills and experience will allow them to provide a quality representation. Unfortunately, the candidate that we are asked to confirm does not meet this burden. I feel the need to comment on an unfortunate and disappointing turn of events in this process. Accusations have been levied against those of us who have expressed concern about the candidate's qualifications as informed and motivated by inherent gender bias. I state here tonight that it is our duty to ask the difficult questions, that the questions asked and the concerns raised were and are merit-based, that any suggestion otherwise is an attempt to change the subject and redirect the conversation. Despite efforts to present a different picture, the Public Defender's Office handles an overwhelming majority of criminal cases, nearly 80% cases which are described as labor-intensive. Criminal law is highly specialized. The role of public defender is a calling. The Ulster County Chief Public Defender will be the voice of that office, the advocate for criminal justice reform, the champion of their staff, and the representative of those in need. They will be called upon to weigh in on the performance of those working under them in criminal court. They will need to allocate limited resources and evaluate criminal case progress. I have no illusions that the Chief Public Defender has or will bear the brunt of the caseload or be the attorney of record on a significant number of cases. That said, the candidate before us is not qualified to weigh in on the substantive issues involved, much less to handle those cases. We cannot afford to allow the candidate to learn on the job. There is too much on the line. The stakes are too high. Ulster County deserves a qualified chief public defender. I will be a no.
Legislator Runk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to be supporting the confirmation of Ms. Shealy. While I respect Legislator Bartels's, comments on the memo that was sent to us by the Defenders Association, a thorough read of that memo goes on in several places to state unequivocally that they do not take a position or endorse any of the qualifications that are listed as sample qualifications from several counties. And quite frankly, the one that I thought was the best and the most comprehensive was the set from Monroe County, which Ms. Shealy would uniquely qualify for, having experience in family court, because that says that particular set of qualifications says either 3 years of criminal or family law practice, as well as I think the most important part, which is a passion for the defense of the indigent population, which I think you heard many people during public comment, talk about, and quite frankly, which I've experienced as a county legislator when Ms. Shealy came to speak to us several times during a couple of budgets to talk about the defense of indigent populations and asking the legislature to further invest in indigent defense. I also was, dismayed by the comments about gender bias. I believe that, at least to my caucus, those comments were walked back, and I think that were not intended to be as pointed as they became. And I don't believe that there's any gender bias in this. I think it's just a difference of opinion, and a difference of opinion in the legislature as well as in life is healthy. But all I know is that, the county executive definitely sets the advanced qualifications. Qualifications for positions like this are set by the appointing authority under civil service law and all over our charter. And quite frankly, I disagree with the assertion that the 1979 amended in 1980 job description survives the charter, because the charter lists specific requirements, which are that you are licensed to practice law in the state of New York, that you're an Ulster County resident, and that you are full-time, which, by the way, is a qualification that the legislature has ignored over the years since the charter was passed. So I think that Ms. Shealy's qualifications far outweigh the qualifications that she's lacking, and those qualifications that she's lacking are well made up for in the office. So I'm proud tonight to support her confirmation.
Legislator Archer.
Yes, I would like to explain why I will be voting against Ms. Shealy's appointment as Chief Public Defender for Ulster County. I'm aware, and we were made aware tonight, of Ms. Shealy's admirable career in assisting the indigent population on family matters, but she lacks a key experience, and that's in criminal matters and trial litigation. I'm especially concerned with the more serious felonies like homicide, obstruction of justice, assault, possession and or sale of controlled substances. Criminal cases with a weak defense could result in a wrongful conviction, causing a devastating impact on a person's life. The Chief Public Defender needs to be able to step into a criminal trial on day one if needed. These are skills that take years to develop. I also believe that now, in the light of New York State's ongoing criminal justice reform, experience is even more important. This office should include the most competent and experienced lawyers the county can provide to represent the most vulnerable and poor in our society. I would like to add my concern over the hiring process. Despite what the charter says, there is a right way to have done this. This was not considered, which I believe resulted in our being presented with a candidate with a critical gap in experience. We have several activist groups, we have criminal justice experts in our county. When envisioning the right person for this job, which of these were consulted? There are excellent candidates both inside and outside the county, including people of color. The executive states that an effective county government must reflect the people that it serves. What efforts were done to ensure racial inclusion in the pool of candidates? We are faced with challenging issues and changes in New York for criminal justice reform. Were candidates interviewed to ensure they are well-informed and fully prepared for these changes? The lack of inclusion and transparency no doubt resulted in this powerful statement issued to us today by the Ulster County Human Rights Commission. And I quote, "Unfortunately, we find that the present nominee, who has no criminal experience whatsoever, falls far short of what the people of Ulster County need and deserve in their public defender. We would respectfully ask you to reconsider your nomination and nominate an experienced criminal defense attorney so that the rights of our county's most vulnerable are protected."
Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else that has not spoken yet? Legislator, you should know.
Yeah, I just wanted to say quickly that, I interviewed Lauren. I found her to be qualified. I found her to be passionate. And I'm heartened to be approving tonight and voting in favor of a candidate who has so much experience with the family court system. And I speak as a child whose future was litigated in family court for the better part of a decade. And that I know how important that can be, and that really does impact lives, much in the same way that a criminal case would. I realize they're completely different things, but I say that only to
You apparently muted yourself. Legislator, you should help.
My apologies. I'll just wrap by saying, I don't know, how long was I muted for? Was that just the last second?
I'm not sure.
Briefly.
Okay, good. I just want to say I am honored to support Ms. Shealy. I'm excited to have a candidate for this office with so much experience in the family court system. And I conclude my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, there's been I don't see anyone else, do I?
I believe Legislator Ronk had his hand up at one point.
All right, well, he was leaning back. I did.
I did. I was just waiting for you to call me, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Legislator Ronk.
Thanks. I know that, I believe it was Legislator Archer who had read, a portion of the letter that was given to us today that says it's from the Human Rights Commission. Through the chair to Legislator Archer, are you aware whether or not all members of the Human Rights Commission were present when this was decided to be written? Because it comes unsigned. It comes as if it's from the whole Human Rights Commission, and it's my understanding that it is not.
It was sent by just so you know, it was sent by the chairman of the Human Rights Commission, Carl Brown.
Yeah, my question, Mr. Chairman, through you to Legislator Archer, since she was the one who read it, is who was present at the meeting where it was decided to write this? Because it's not written. It's not written by chairman of the Human Rights Commission. It comes from Human Rights Commission of Ulster County.
Right, but it comes from the chairman.
So he was the only one who decided to be a signator on this.
I could not answer that.
All right, well,
I received it from the chairman of the Human Rights Commission.
I understand that
there was a vote, and that was the vote. That's the only thing I know. It was a vote to send that letter.
I just, Mr. Chairman, I would appreciate it, personally, if you would inquire from the chairman of the Human Rights Commission as to how many people were, from the Human Rights Commission were there, was a quorum present to be able to write a letter to the legislature about this, because quite frankly, I would understand if it was signed, chairman of the Human Rights Commission. These are my opinions, but this looks as if it's from, the entire Human Rights Commission, which I believe would take a meeting, a quorum, and a vote. So I would appreciate more information on this in the future if you could see fit to gather that.
I could certainly do that, but my understanding, there was a quorum and there was a vote, and that was the vote. That's the only thing I know.
Mr. Chairman, these are public meetings, and it obviously wasn't noticed. So,
well, I don't know. Okay, Legislator Criswell.
My understanding is that it was not a unanimous vote.
Yeah, I don't think it was unanimous, no. All right, anybody else? All right, seeing no one else. Oh, yes, Legislator Litz. You have to unmute yourself, Legislator Litz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been a long process. I viewed both sides, put a lot of time and effort into it, looked into qualifications from the neighboring counties, from the New York State Defenders Association. And I've come to the conclusion that the candidate must be able to demonstrate that they have the trial experience, skills, and training to handle and diligently represent clients in complex felony and family court cases. The candidate's demonstration of skills and experience must include examples of complex cases that he or she has directly handled and tried. Further, the candidate reference must be able to confirm that the candidate's skills and experience will allow them to provide quality representation. I like Lauren. I think she's a highly qualified person. Unfortunately, I don't think she is, I think she is lacking some of the experience that is necessary to hold this position. Our neighboring counties typically have 7 years or 5 years of experience as practicing attorneys in the field of criminal law, and 3 years of which in aggregate must have involved extensive court appearances in the trial of issues in such fields. I wish she had more experience. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Otherwise, we'll start with the long roll. All right, there has been a long roll requested by Legislator Petit, and we shall start the long roll.
Archer,
No.
Bartels,
No.
Bruno,
Mr. Chairman, I've thought long and hard about this. I've listened to everybody. I want to thank everybody who has weighed in personally to me, who reached out to me with their insights. And I don't think she has the experience to demand the top spot. I think there's other people in the county that are more experienced and more qualified for this position. So after looking at all the issues and all the different sides, I'm a no.
Cahill,
No.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Criswell,
Yes.
DeLon,
No.
I
Donaldson.
want to make sure, before I vote, I just want to say something quick. There's been much reference to the charter and this position, and understand that the charter is a framework that we work from, and it's not an end all. That's why we have an administrative code, and that's why we have personal qualifications on every position in Ulster County. If you look at the Director of Office of the Agent, Fire Coordinator, Commissioner of Social Services, Commissioner of Public Works, Director of Public Transportation, Director of Probation, Director of Emergency Services, and so on. These people are all people that are approved by this body after being appointed. And by qualifications, if you look at it by charter, it just basically says the same thing, are appointed on the basis of his or her experiences and qualifications for the duty of office by the executive and confirmed by the legislature. That is the guideline of which the qualifications are spelled out in the listing of personnel. That is where they actually are. And they are given every time we've ever appointed someone. It is often requested that the qualifications for personnel, and we get the much more specific qualifications that go into details. And that has been the protocol for the past appointments, both before the charter and after the charter. It has not changed. Does everybody read all them and know all what they are? Perhaps not, but once we go for the appointments, we normally do. The executive chose to disregard those qualifications that were made in personnel, and he made his own seemingly maybe to fit the candidate. Having said that, this legislative body and the personnel, of course, as was pointed out by Legislator Litz, I don't need to repeat them, The legislative body, and technically, does not even have to accept someone that meets those minimum qualifications for personnel. We may deem whatever qualifications stricter must be met and how well they must be met. That is part of our job. That is our part of what we are supposed to be doing. And in order to confirm any of the above mentioned appointments, we need to review those personnel qualifications. I believe the public defender must have a minimum qualifications in criminal defense experience and trial law, which is very, I mean, trials before a jury. That is it's one of the more unique things that attorneys do. And it is one of the tougher things that attorneys do. And in my opinion, they do not meet, the nominee does not meet those minimum qualifications. So I am compelled to vote no, even though I believe Ms. Shealy has done wonderful things throughout her life, and I'm sure she will continue to do those. Thank you.
Fabiano,
No.
Gaveris,
No.
Green,
No.
Haynes,
I am a very supportive and enthusiastic yes. Thank you.
Hepner,
No.
Litz,
Pass.
Lopez,
Yes.
Mayo,
No.
Parity,
Yes.
Petit.
I know that we've all been talking about the charter. We have to remember that this document was voted in by the voters of Ulster County, and it clearly says that the county executive shall appoint a person into this position who is an attorney. We're fortunate enough to have a very well-rounded attorney who has the background to support individuals who need the public defender service. The candidate will have a stellar team of attorneys and staff to assist her. And we have to remember that the public defender's office is not an office of one, but of many qualified individuals. I am a yes on this resolution.
Roberts,
Sorry, pass.
Ronk,
Yes.
Ushitel,
Yes.
Walter,
Pass.
Waro. Sorry. Legislator Waro, you froze for a second there.
Sorry. No.
That was very clear. Litz,
No.
Roberts,
Miss Shealy appeared via Zoom at the caucus the other night. I found her quite impressive. Young adult. But does that make her qualified to be the next public defender? If you want a tough defense trial attorney, she clearly doesn't qualify. But if you're looking for an administrator or an office manager, she is the right person for the job. I also have to weigh, do we want to give the new county executive, the ability to appoint the people of his choosing, or do we want to have strict oversight? In the past, I let Mike Hine, I gave him quite latitude in my votes in supporting his nominees, and I'm going to do that this time and vote yes.
and Walter.
Thank you. I just I want to say that I really appreciate, again, the energy everyone brought into this. I recognize that I think in many ways there are two right answers, but you know, I hope this energy stays. I hope people keep caring about this. As the chair of law enforcement, this is something that's important to me. I also want to second what Legislator Archer said, that I hope in this, it seems like it will be going into a next round, that this includes people from Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, youth groups, and professionals in the field who can all come together, define this vision, select these questions, and have input so that we can really have somebody that Ulster County can feel incredibly, incredibly proud of. And so with that, I'm a no.
The resolution is defeated 9-14. Resolution 238, establishing a policy regarding legislative access to Ulster County's Municipal Uniform Information System, MUNIS.
The issue?
I believe Legislator Archer has a amendment.
Oh, yes.
Yes, as before, yes, I'd like to make a motion as before you on the addendum. We've added read only. We're not asking for access to make any changes. We are asking for access for read only and the ability to download. So as before you.
Second of that amendment?
I'll second it.
All right. On the amendment?
On the amendment, we're a short yes.
We're a short yes as well.
On the resolution?
We are a short yes.
Short yes.
The resolution is adopted as amended 23-0. Resolution 240 was postponed in committee. Resolution 246, authorizing track removal for the Ulster County Midtown Linear Park in the City of Kingston Department of Planning.
Anybody speak on the resolution? I did not see anyone. On the resolution?
On the resolution, we are a short yes with one no. Legislator Petit.
We are a short yes.
The resolution is adopted 22-1. Resolution 249, amending the 2020 Ulster County budget to increase the salary of the public defender.
Legislator Bartel.
I'd like to offer an amendment as presented before the legislature. Make a motion to amend.
Second that amendment. Amendment seconded by.
I'll second.
Very good.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ebner. On the amendment.
On the amendment, we're a short yes.
We're a short yes.
The amendment is adopted 23-0.
On the resolution?
On the resolution, we are a short yes.
We're a short yes.
The resolution is adopted as amended 23-0. Resolution 235 is a bond authorizing the replacement of the culvert on Wittenberg Road in the town of Woodstock in and for the county of Ulster, New York at a maximum estimated cost of $62,000 and authorizing the issuance of $62,000 bonds of said county to pay the costs thereof.
That's
Archer.
resolution 253.
Oh, I said 235. Thank you for correcting. That's important. It's 253.
No, I didn't even
Archer.
hear it.
Yes.
Bartels.
Yes.
Bruno.
Yes.
Cahill.
Cahill.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Criswell.
Yes.
DeLon.
Hello? Hello?
DeLon, you were muted.
Yes.
Donaldson.
Yes.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Gaveris.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Haynes.
Yes.
Hepner.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes. What's to call your name for bond?
Oh, give me a yes.
Did you hear that? That was legislator Parity with a yes. Petit,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Hold on.
Ronk,
Yes.
Yuchatel,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
and Waro.
Yes.
Resolution 253 is adopted 23-0. Resolution 263, authorizing the chair of the Ulster County Legislature to enter an agreement for a cybersecurity remediation grant program with the New York State Board of Elections, Ulster County Board of Elections.
Let me get a point of information. Was 257 that was moved to consent?
It was.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so on 263, on the issue. Anyone wish to speak?
I believe Legislator Ronk has his hand raised.
All righty, I didn't see that. I'm sorry, go ahead, Legislator Ronk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just, I was gonna more quietly vote no on this until public comment happened, and apparently there's some misinformation out there that I feel compelled to put on the record publicly that the Republican caucus or myself in particular are against this grant or against protecting our elections with cybersecurity. It could not be farther from the truth. The concern that I've had about this resolution and several prior resolutions is complying with our resolution process. It puts a real strain on the staff to have these resolutions come in late, especially when they don't have to, especially when they don't follow the late process. And that causes mistakes to be made, like the huge holes in this resolution that we had to remedy last night through amendments in laws and rules. We were approving the contract and authorizing the chair to enter into the agreement, and then we weren't amending the budget to include the money in the Ulster County budget because it didn't go through our proper process, either at the legislature or at the finance department, and several portions of it were incorrect. So I just want to make sure that the public is aware that the Republican caucus is not against cybersecurity for our elections, and we're not thumbing up our nose at grant funding, but we are standing up. I am standing up, at least, for our staff and our processes, the same way that many of you would probably stand up for our staff and our processes if the executive's office was doing the same exact thing month after month. So I'm going to be a no out of process on this, but the rest of the Republican caucus is going to be a yes.
Anyone else wish to speak on this issue? I call for the vote.
We're a short yes.
We're a short yes with one no. Legislator Ronk.
The resolution is adopted 22-1, and that is the last resolution because 264 was moved to consent.
Alrighty, first I want to thank everyone for tonight's debate. I thought it was quite respectful, and I appreciate that. And it was a tough decision that had to be made. So right at this point, I'd like to call on Heidi Haynes to read the memorials.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned tonight in memory of the following: Joseph L. Sinat, Saugerties, New York. Our own legislative colleague, Thomas Cochran's mother, Mary R. Cochran, Milton, New York. Elizabeth Briggs, Ellenville, New York. Roger H. Osterhout, Accord, New York. Irene J. Durr, Saugerties, New York. Antoinette G. Falutico, Kingston, New York. Natalie Mann Rosenstock, Boynton Beach, Florida. Salvatore A. Verastro, Saugerties, New York. Keith J. Johnson, Shandaken, New York. Stuart H. DeWitt, Woodstock, New York. Joseph Riccio, Saugerties, New York. William H. Ayers, Kingston, New York. James F. Dwyer, Port Ewan, New York. Christopher K. Bamba, Kingston, New York. Robert J. Hinckley, Kingston, New York. Crystalia Orthodoxu, Phoenicia, New York. Alexander R. Razamanik, Ellenville, New York. Margaret Gohl, Kingston, New York. Father and son here. Joseph J. Hull, town of Schwangunk. Joseph D. Hull, town of Shamgung. Jared P. Winecoop, Hurley, New York. Eleanor Gallagher, Marlborough, New York. Dominic R. Castaldo, Hurley, New York.
Senator Litz.
Yeah, I would like to add the name of Bert Long from Highland, New York.
I have one more.
And I would just like to say that I worked most of my career with Stewie DeWitt. Excellent man. He was a gentleman beyond gentleman. And also, I'd like to say that Joseph Hull was an employee of our DPW department, and I believe there's a GoFundMe page set up for him and his family, or for his family. Thank you.
Legislator Petit.
I would like to add the name of Shelley Leashing of Kingston, New York.
I would like to say something quick about Joseph Sadat from Saugerties. I ran across him. It was probably about 24 years ago. I was with my son, Daniel, who is now, well, he'll be 30 in October. And we just started talking, and he immediately drew a cartoon for my son right there and then of Spider-Man. He did his illustration, his Spider-Man illustration, because that's what he worked as. And my son still possesses that. It was just the idea that, you know, he asked me, would your son like that? And that's what he did. So there's many people that have his illustrations just because he ran across them. And if they had a child with them, he would give them an illustration. Very nice gentleman. Legislator Walters.
Thank you. So I wanted to first add James McDonald from New Paltz, New York, and also very important to me is Pauline Delson from Saugerties, New York. And I just want to say briefly that Pauline was born in 1917 during the Spanish flu epidemic. She was 103, and last May she got put into Health Alliance Hospital with pneumonia into the COVID clinic 103 years later after the Spanish flu. When I called her to talk to her, she thanked me for calling her to say goodbye and hung up on me. She recovered and they got moved to Golden Hill. And I visited her there. I had to be outside and slide a little door, and she would call in her magic window where all the people who love her are coming to say hello to her. And then she got better, and then she came home. And then just a few weeks later, peacefully in her house with her family, she passed away, having made it through 2 major pandemics, but neither of them got her. And so I just wanted to make a very special mention for her. Thank you.
Legislator Ebner.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to recognize Thomas Acker from Woodstock, New York. He was a very beloved person in the Woodstock community, a long-time and dedicated secretary of the Woodstock Democratic Committee, a storyteller, and a great conversationalist on our town's long history. He could always speak to some own history of your own family in the community, which was a great skill he had. And he was just overall just one of those great, kind souls. And we would definitely miss him in Woodstock. Thank you.
Yes, I concur with that. I've known Tom for about 50 years, and he was always a great storyteller. Wonderful individual. Legislator Bruno.
Yeah, I'd like to echo your Chairman Donaldson's about Joe Sinnott. I've known Joe Sinnott virtually all my life, he was not only an icon in the comic industry, working with Stan Lee on some of the greatest comics that we ever knew, all of us. He was a national hero in that way. He drew the comics. He was the guy. He was the inker, the guy who colored them all, but yet he could draw beyond anyone's imagination. Never once would he hesitate to give someone an autograph with a sketch and a picture. I have several of them hanging on my wall here. I wish I could turn my camera around. He was a veteran of World War II. He was an icon, but most importantly, he was a gentleman to everyone he met. And he's going to be missed greatly by Sargis in our community. As well, Sargis seems for some reason to lose quite a few people. Two other people, Sal Veraster, who was a teacher in the Sargis school system for many years. And when I see the name, it brings back memories from 45 years ago. He was an amazing teacher. And my accolades to him. And last but not least, Joseph Riccio Sr., MacGyver, who was known throughout our community in Glasgow as MacGyver. And I'm sure Dean can back that up with me as well. He was known and loved by all. And they all of them will be greatly missed in our community. A huge loss for Ulster County. Thank you.
Legislator Worrell.
Hi, I'd like to add the name of Highland Dwinney Sr., Marion Vale, and Samuel Guler, all from Saugerties. Thank you.
Legislator Bartels.
I'd like to add the name of David Richardson of Gardner, New York.
Legislator Ronk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say a couple things about Joe Hull. Herbie brought up that he was a dedicated employee of the county DPW for many years. And he's a hero, and I hope that everybody remembers him that way because, risking his own life, he saved his daughter's life and then passed away while trying to save his son's life in a house fire. Really, people like that need to be remembered as heroes.
Okay, make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Bruno. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the next regular meeting of the Ulster County Legislature will be held on Tuesday, August 18th in 2020 at 7 p.m. Resolution deadline is Friday, July 24th, 2020 at 12 noon, and we'll advise the BOE of that for you, Legislator Ronk.
In chambers, I hope.
I'm told that they're going to. Yeah, I was about to say. Hopefully at 244 Fair Street in Kingston, right, Dave? 6th floor.
Hopefully.
But
right.
They are aware of resolution deadline, and they're sincerely hoping to get next month's resolution in on time.
Okay, very good. I figured I'd let you know that. All right. Thank you all, and for, as I said before, the respectful debate. And I will see you all soon.
Be safe and healthy.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.